My name is Ali, and I'll be presenting VoiceBox. And again, would love for you guys to have really creative ideas and ask me some great questions at the end. So this is just the landing page of 3 different slides of how the application will look. And it'll be an iOS and Google Play and web application app. And we can go to the next slide if we can get started talking about it. Alrighty, so again, the modern social media platforms that we've been all using over the last decade, they all started out great. From the Facebook, Messengers, the MySpace, even early Instagram and Snapchat. Me being a 26-year-old and classified as Gen Z, use these applications. And they were really fun when we first started using them. And again, it was fun, it was silly. There wasn't as many ads, there wasn't as many hypersexualized content that was pushed upon you. But nowadays we see more and more with the youth and the people that are growing up into it, they stop communicating with each other unless they're using what? Edited photos, half a picture of a Snapchat, a 100% professionally edited photo on Instagram instead of silly, creative ways to express yourself. Our social skills and our attention span are falling apart due to these platforms, and 80% of teachers say their students are having trouble focusing in class. I have a podcast that I do as a part-time hobby, and I interviewed my 3rd grade teacher and my 9th grade teacher. My 3rd grade teacher told me, yeah, you used to be able to write a paragraph when you were young, this age, but now I can barely get the kids to write a sentence. Then I'm thinking, what's the problem? Are they not writing? Are they not talking? What are the issues? And a 2018 study tied social media use to disrupted sleep, which is associated with depression, memory loss, anxiety, and lower school performance. So it's kind of going to show that, wait, is having this computer in my hand 24/7 not affecting me or not affecting me? And again, we don't use our voice anymore. Our ability to have deep and meaningful conversations is starting to fall apart. And this is something I noticed when I was in university. When I was a freshman in university, being on the soccer team at my school, I remember having different functions to go to. Hey guys, we're gonna have a little party here. We're gonna talk to these people, these people, these people. And as a freshman, extroverted kid, I was like, oh, this is my chance to talk to so many different people, interact, learn different things about people. But then when I was a senior and had those exact same parties, I'd be like, hey guys, come over, we're gonna have a couple teams over. This is preseason, we're gonna interact and meet people. And then I would watch as it looked like a 5th grade school dance where the boys went to one side, the girls went to one side, and everyone's staring at their phones. And it got me thinking, why is this happening? It's just a 3-year gap between me and those kids. So in those 3-year gap, what's really happening? So again, the changing social media demographics. So 1 million users delete Instagram every single month because people know, and there's so many studies that have come out and shown that Instagram damages our mental health. Last year, 33% of US teens used Facebook. This is a decline from 2015 when 71% of teens used it. So again, teenagers, college students, they're the ones who really push the social media agenda. And I remember when I was younger, I used Facebook and I really liked using it for one reason. I was able to message people in my class. I got to message that girl I had a crush on in 6th grade, and my parents didn't know anything about it because I'm sitting behind the computer. My parents don't understand the internet that well, so to me it was a way to express myself, to talk to people after school, even though I didn't have a phone until what, 10th grade, 9th grade. And then 89% of respondents ages 16 to 24 said that social media negatively affected their mental health. And me, as a 26-year-old who grew up in this, I can say I completely agree with it. What happened during COVID when everyone was locked in their houses, using their phones, just contacting over Zoom, right? Contacting over their phone. Was it really 100% who you are socially? Probably not. And 41% of students communicate with their families daily. Most of them are communicating through SMS or text messages. So when you're at school, you're at university, mom and dad keep trying to call me, but I'm so busy, I have homework, I have this, I have that, I want to have a social life. I'm finally away from their house for 18 years of my life. I'm in college, stop talking, mom and dad. So what they do is they send text messages. But text messages tend to be the most impersonal way to communicate with each other, especially since we have the phone. So again, the opportunity here I have is the growing social media and voice market. So 150 million voice messages are sent daily on WhatsApp. And again, being an Egyptian American, you use your voice all the time on WhatsApp. Why? It's easy to speak in Arabic, but it's hard to text that language. Why is it so popular in Brazil, where they speak Portuguese? Why is it so popular in Indonesia, India? Because it's easy to speak those languages, but it's hard to text those languages. So again, you can really express yourself a lot more through your voice. 71% of Gen Z and 62% of millennials report that they use their voice notes regularly. So it's starting to see an uptick in trend in where the younger generations are starting to say, hey, this is so much easier than just texting, and I can just send a whole conversation in a blurb of voice rather than go back and forth for text for 3 days and get the same conversation you'd have gotten in one voice note. And 52% reported using voice notes to convey emotions that are difficult to express through text. So again, your inflection, your tonality, the way you speak, the speed you speak at, the intensity, the slow, the up, the tick, all that is your personality. All of that is a way to express yourself through the phone. And again, voice is the top 10 growing business in the software industry over the last 3 years. So as I was noticing all these things as validation when I was in college and entering after like I graduated 2020, so during COVID, I started realizing, wait, this is such an important tool that we're not really utilizing as American citizens here. We're just not using it because we have Instagrams, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Snapchats. But then I started noticing as content started getting very hypersexualized. It was only promoting things that you really didn't want to see. So I was wondering as to why. So the solution I came up with that I designed was this, VoiceBox. So in the middle here, as you see, is a feed, how you guys are probably aware with Twitter, or X as they call it now. And it'll be a feed in where you have the voice notes that have people that you follow or you synchronize with. And on the right will be your profile page where you have a voice bio instead of a written bio. And the number here, 71, is her wavelength score. So what's a wavelength score? So when you and someone are synchronizing one another, you guys are just on the same vibe, you're on the same synchronicity, you're synchronizing one another, so now you're on each other's wavelength. So when you're on each other's wavelength, then that allows you to be in the direct message section. So you'll get to stop getting those crypto scams on WhatsApp. You'll get to stop having random people contact you and DM you. So there's an extra layer of protection throughout the platform. And say if I'm going to be a father one day and I have a daughter. She's 12 years old and all her friends have social media. But I want her to also feel like she has something that's positive or something, but not feel left out is, oh, you can talk to your friend Amanda. Oh, wait, let me hear who you're talking to. I can make sure I can have an extra layer of protection where it's someone's voice rather than someone behind a screen. So this eliminates that sort of catfishing or eliminates that level of you don't really know who's behind the screen until you hear their voice. And again, the design for me as someone who's 26 and grew up when this social media age is noticing that WhatsApp has not evolved in 15 years. It still looks the same as an AOL server back in the day where it's the chat boxes. But why? Because they've already won the market, they think. They think that that's it. We don't have to be ingenious. We don't have to create something new. That's where I come in with a new style of UI and UX design. And that's why it's called VoiceBox, because instead of it being like lines and chat boxes, it's different boxes. You could also have group chats. So you're able to talk to your family, you're able to talk to your friends, your soccer team, whoever it is. And even think about it relationship-wise. How often is it that you argue with someone over text back and forth, but all because you guys didn't understand each other? So with voice, there's a lot less of that. So you can be able to hear each other, listen to their whole memo before you butt in and try to interrupt to them. So there's, again, a new way of communicating with one another here. So again, the market analysis, because again, obviously, when you make a business, you have to start thinking, all right, how am I going to make money? Is this even viable? What should I do? So users on social media is rising every year, 8%, and it's at 5.2 billion. So that's more than half the world is using social media at some level. The market itself is almost worth 400 billion, and it's growing every year. And the instant messaging market itself is also growing every year. So the business model. This is something that took me probably the longest to really figure out because, again, I didn't want to spam people with ads. I didn't want to spam people with things that I myself don't believe in. So then how are you going to make money and profit? So one way I thought about it was subscriptions. So a way to have a subscription model is this. Nowadays, there's content creators, there's people who have businesses. But now, how do you make them all happy on a platform? Is it just because of ad spend and how much ad money they have? But not every business can do that. So something I thought about was this. They're having a creator and influence package where you pay maybe $15 a month. But say if you have 500,000 followers or people who synchronize with you, now you're able to send a direct DM directly to them with this subscription. So it puts the power into the creator's hands and it puts power into the consumer's hands. Because sometimes if I'm scrolling on an Instagram, I'm scrolling on something, I don't like it that they're targeting you because they heard what I talked about Nike shoes, so boom, now I have a Nike shoes ad. But instead, you follow Nike, and they can send you something specifically to you because you went out of your way to follow them. Same thing goes to creators. Same thing goes to small businesses that you might follow. So another idea I had is for business and restaurants and retail. So for example, there's a really cool pizza shop down the street. They have 100 people who synchronize with them, and they follow them. Now, how could they do a big advertisement to them? They send email marketing, which costs up to like $500 to $1,000 for even a small business to do email marketing. Or do they send a direct memo from their voice as the owner to the 100 people that say, hey guys, 25% off this weekend, come in with promo code ALPHA. They come in, they say, hey, I heard it on VoiceBox, ALPHA. Boom, now they get 25% off. So there's a way for businesses, even retail and like pizza shops, to be able to be like, hey, come in and have a direct relationship, business to customer, without having the middleman. So again, this puts power into the consumer's hands, but also puts power into the creator's hands as well. And then the cosmetic customization. So I don't know if you guys know games like Fortnite or Valorant, or these different games that have come up recently where skins are something that people spend thousands of dollars on. I had a friend who told me, yeah, his cousin spent $1,000 some on skins for Valorant. And me personally, I play video games here and there, but I'm not someone who's gonna spend $1,000 on some cosmetics. But hey, money is out there to be made. People like these kinds of things. So then I thought about it. What if you had a way to make brand partnerships with different companies? So for example, the first one here, I don't know if you guys know who Pokemon is, but Imagine there was a Pokemon skin, so I do a deal with Nintendo. So that's brand awareness for Nintendo, that's brand awareness for the app, and that's someone who, hey, I like Pokemon. Let me customize my app the way I want it to look. So like we said before, instead of the boxes being the standard blue one, imagine if it was a Christmas box during the holidays. It was a jack-o'-lantern during Halloween. Imagine if it was Nintendo. Imagine if it was a Nike box. Imagine if it was a Star Wars trailer. Imagine if it was any different thing that I'm able to have partnerships and brand deals with. So again, there's different ways for companies to get involved, but also have brand partnership, but also for the company itself to also make money. And again, this is another way of potentially adding revenue. So again, like I was saying before, email marketing costs for small businesses can cost you from $200 to $900 a month. And for mid or large size business, the price can go exponentially up to even $20,000 a month. Because again, those email marketings we get in our Gmail, that in the promotions tab that we never open, yeah, they pay thousands of dollars for those, and we never open them, nor do we care about them. So again, just kind of having like a monetization forecast. If VoiceBox has 100,000 monthly users, and 5% of them have subscriptions, so that's 5K of them will be paying at least $15 a month, that's $75,000 a month. We all know that social media is such a lucrative industry, but to be able to actually step into this market and do it is going to be the tricky part. So then how do you do it? By having a quality platform. Something called the social media effect is what allows someone to say, hey, I really like using this application. Hey, this is actually really fun. Wait, they're not spamming me with ads. Wait, they're not making me see hypersexualized content all the time. Wait, I'm talking to my friends and family again. This could be interesting. And WhatsApp itself has 2 billion users. Viber has 1.1 billion users. Telegram, 700 million users. So the largest apps in the world that retain the most attention and have the most users are actually the instant messaging apps. So VoiceBox is in a really interesting position here where it can have a little bit of both. So as I said here, the competitive analysis. So again, having all these different people, and we know apps like Clubhouse tried to come out recently with a platform that was voice-centered. I had this idea in November 2019. Clubhouse came out April 2020. When I first saw it, I got ecstatic. I was so happy when I saw a competition, because to me that makes me realize, wait, I'm in the right market, you need competitors, and then I looked at the way they designed it, and they designed it how? For their pockets. They didn't design it with the actual passion in mind. They didn't design it for the user, they designed it for their pockets, which is why they had a 4 billion Silicon Valley valuation, and then no one uses it anymore. Why? Because, oh, Elon Musk spoke on it one time. Go figure, right? But you need to have a platform with social media is the social network effect. People need to like it. People need to make it a successful platform. And then that's where VoiceBox is well positioned to be a messaging app that operates as a social media platform. And that's the logo right there. So again, the team, so me as the founder and CEO, again, serial entrepreneur, passionate founder, and again, mission driven. For me, again, I love talking to people. I miss being able to walk around and talk to people. Me, as someone who'd always watch my dad talk to everyone around and being so kind and genuine and having all these interactions, I noticed, okay, so let me do that with people my age. But then I noticed a lot of kids will kind of stare at the floor. They won't hold eye contact with you. And I'm just like, guys, like, we're supposed to have a conversation here. We're supposed to be friends. But it takes a lot longer now. Because again, the phone has become this huge crutch that people are using. And the lead developer is Christopher Jones. So again, he has 16 plus years of coding. He's been featured in the App Store. He's worked with a lot of high-level clients like RCL Beauty, who has like 10 million subscribers on YouTube. Nicole TV, who is like an internet meme sensation with another 10 million. And he even did like a web design for Jordan Belfort. So again, he has high-level clients, and he found me, I found him. We kind of had like a good synonymous work, and it's like, hey, I'm inspired by your idea, let's work. And then the lead designer is my cousin Mo. Again, he's creative. He's a project manager by day, but then a super talented artist at night. So be able to have that as well is really nice. And then my lawyer is a local Lehigh Valley native, is Jim McDaniel, with 28 plus years of experience with intellectual property and the USPTO office, which is why I'm now have a non-provisional, I'm trademarked. I even have a PCT patent, so that gives me global protection as well. And I have until like 2025 or 2026 to basically figure out which countries I want to go into and kind of protect. So again, this is when after I launch, I'll be able to be like, okay, which countries are using it the most so that I can have a safe intellectual property within those countries. So again, a little bit of a roadmap. So here in August pitching. I hope to have a launch beta version by October and get my first 1,000 users, start different marketing campaigns I have. So by January, having 10,000 features, adding new languages, new features, and marketing to global markets. And again, being very global, I would say, and having a lot of network from all over the world. I studied abroad in England, so I had met people from Mozambique, Angola, Taiwan, China. I met people from Morocco, met people from Spain. So having this large network of people all over the world really helps, and then just one by one, drop an idea in all those different countries and see where it goes. And then hopefully by the end of 2025, have 10 million downloads, be in over 100 countries worldwide, and have an investor believe in the vision to accelerate growth. So the ask, like why I'm here, why I'm talking to you guys here today, And again, it's mentorship. If you guys know something, if you guys have been down this road or know anything that could help me out or vice versa, again, I'm more than willing to listen because, again, having an open mind is how you excel in business and in life. And then grants and funding. If you guys know any ways to get grants, different ways to get funding, I'd love to know that. And again, users, right? Try out the app. Once it launches, I'd love to have it in all of your guys' hands. You guys try it out your family, see how it plays out. If there's any bugs, any glitches, feel free to email me, text me, whatever it is. Again, open-minded person. I love doing that. And then a give to you guys as well is if you guys want my business card, you guys want anything from me as well, please contact me. If you guys are thinking about being a founder, thinking about, oh, how do I get trademarked? How do I get a patent? How do I do this? Please feel free to come talk to me as well because, again, I always think that the more you help people, the more people help you. It's just a nice cycle of helping one another, and that's how you get further in life. So, yeah. And this is how I'd use funds as well, like with everything, because again, the main costs are the servers and development fees and legal fees, and then branding is pretty eliminated. But again, this is just for a sense of funding and what you would do with money. And yeah, thank you guys again. And now open it to questions.
Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much. That was well done.
Can you go back 2 screens for me?
Of course.
Okay, so anywhere in this arena is what he's looking for, seeking help in what we're doing. So quick, take that mental snapshot, and it's gone.
At 1MC, we'd like for you to state specifically at least 2 or 3 challenges. Can you name one challenge you'd like advice the audience to give you on?
So I think my main challenge that I've thought about over the last couple of years is the simple fact that you can't take money from everyone. And for me, again, as being a Muslim American as well, I don't want to take anything interest-bearing because, again, that's, again, against my religion and faith and values. So because I don't want to take anything interest-based, I'd have to make sure that, A, I know exactly who I'm getting into business with, and 2, knowing exactly how I can offer value without getting sucked into the trap of, like, the whole, I guess, the money system that does exist in our world. So, again, for me, it's more about the lines of finding a way to get investors, whether it be grants, whether it be that kind of funding, rather than the bank loan stuff. So I think that's probably my biggest problem because, again, it's values plus what I want. So, again, it's trying to find that sweet in between. So I guess that would be my biggest challenge. So, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Money sources.
So how are you going to prevent people from using like a voice changer to change their voice?
So the number one way it works is through the microphone itself. So you can't record outside of the microphone yourself when you're talking. And again, for example, say if someone has another phone and wants to put it next to the microphone and use that, that's again like something you can't stop. But the way that you record things is through your voice on the platform itself.
Okay, so people can't like record it somewhere else and then send it through?
No. And for example, again, with like the $15 business one, say if I'm a podcaster and I want to put snippets or clips, say I'm a radio show host and I want to put snippets and clips, paying for that $15 a month kind of adds this paywall where bots and scammers aren't going to really pay $15 a month because it's not worth their business model to do that. So again, it eliminates that as well. So again, on Instagram or any TikTok or any application you use, you're going to see people, bots and scammers in the comment section because it's free to do that. But being able to upload like a snippet of something if you're a podcaster would be a lot different. And again, if they're paying $15 a month for it, they're probably not going to be people who are trying to do some sort of like scheme or less. So yeah.
Okay, and my second one, so for the languages, are you going to consider the different dialects?
So, no, of course. So again, when it comes to dialect, so one thing I want to add in the future evolution of it is transcription. So obviously when you send a voice memo, seeing a transcription can help kind of go along almost like subtitles. So different like languages, dialects are more about the voice. But when you're reading, for example, Arabic has so many different dialects, right? Someone from Iraq speaks a lot differently from Afghanistan versus someone from Egypt. Yet we can sort of all understand each other even if the dialect's a little funky, but when you're reading it, the language stays the same. So when it comes to reading it, it's all the same. For example, when you're reading in English, are you reading it in a British accent or Australian accent? Or an American accent? So that's kind of how the language barrier doesn't really affect me on like the words on the application.
Mine's a brogue. Okay, people put your hands up so I can go through and count. So we've got Rita, Scott, Xavier, John, Ray, Rain, Marissa. Did I miss somebody so far? And a new guy.
Hey, I'm Rita Guthrie from Open Door Public Relations. I'm a small business marketing consultant. And what I got caught up on is your basic fee for the common user, not a big corporate user. And I want to go back to when Amazon started and it was very, very inexpensive for the year. And we all got hooked. We all got addicted, and then they can jack their membership up really high. So would you consider making it like a giveaway price to get people using the app? Because if 5 of us or 10 of us in this room are using the app, the others are going to be more interested. And once you get us all addicted, well, then you can make your income whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea. And for me, again, when I made like the monetization strategy, it's more thinking of like end term goal of like where it's going to go. But in the beginning, I have a couple of really fun creative ideas, and where I had an idea for like megaphones, where it's like randomly a user will get a megaphone where they can send a direct message to everyone on the platform. Even having things like, imagine someone pays for that. Imagine someone's like, oh, we're going to have every 10,000 users, there's going to be a megaphone from a random user. So again, to be able to talk to 10,000 people with a megaphone out to them, kind of is a creative thing. Where say if I'm the founder, I'll be able to send. Say if I have 1 million users, I can send to those 1 million people. You know how like Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or WhatsApp will text you from like their page. So I was thinking about having different like fun marketing strategies like that as well to do it. But again, I think come the future, $15 a month will be actually very inexpensive for businesses, companies, creators. I have a friend with 500,000 followers on his platforms, and he's an artist. And he always tells me, he's like, I wish I can actually reach them directly, but I can't. Yeah, I can set up an email marketing list. Yeah, I can set up that, but again, how many people are gonna open that? So for him to send a direct message to them, hey guys, listen to my new album that just dropped, directly to 500,000 people is a lot more effective and worth way more than just $15 a month. So to me, like come end game of going through it, I feel like 15 a month would be fair, but thank you for that shout. I think even making it 5 a month at start would be very simple as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. Scott.
First, I should stand up. Okay. First of all, really cool idea. I'm enjoying the presentation. I want to be like Ella when I grow up, of course. So I'm going to ask you too as well. Come on, Ella. We all do. We all want to be Ella. So first question really comes down to, so with other messaging platforms and apps, something always seems to happen to where the hypersexualization gets in and it basically gets hijacked by that, whether that's Telegram or Kick or you know the phenomenon I'm talking about,
Yes.
right? So are you worried or concerned at all that could happen to where the majority of the traffic ends up being, adult audio content and driving that? So that's the first question. Second question has to do with the wavelength score. Did I get that right? The wavelength score? Okay, that's a cool idea too. The place my mind goes with that though too is also looking at pitfalls in social media, and I'm sure you're worried about the polarization and echo chambers and all of that as well. How does that tie in? Do you see where I'm going with that question? Like, is that all that people are going to really see? Is it going to like algorithmically drive them only to people who are because we need people to hear other voices than just the ones that they're hearing?
Mm-hmm. Right. No, of course. Thank you for the question. Again, 2 really good ones. So again, just to answer the second one first, the main way that, again, I'm going to be working on having that echo chamber thing not sort of happen as much as then was one simple thing is there. Say if you have Snapchat, right? Snapchat was an app where people would just send disappearing photos to one another. But there was no sense of a For You page or, hey guys, look at this content. Hey, look at this content. You just really listened to your friends and family. You just talked and Snapchatted to your friends, the people you went to school with. So to me, I was thinking, okay, so with voice, it's the most personal way to communicate, clearly, as of late. And would everyone use this just to listen to their favorite radio show host or podcaster? Some people will focus on that. But someone like my parents, they probably would just use it for the voice feature. So again, within the application, there's kind of set gates of like what you'd use it for. So again, it's gonna be more privatized and more in a sense of, I guess, your family echo chamber or the people around you. But again, you have a search bar where you can search and look for different things as you want. So again, instead of getting spammed, hey, you'll like this. Hey, you'll like this. Hey, this is what your interests are. You can go out of your way to like look for different things, follow different things, and then kind of, again, have conversations with different people. And the first question you had was the hypersexualized audio, right? So again, another way to do this is because you have the audio and you have a source file, you're getting these audios in as transcription to like a database. So then you'll be able to see like, okay, like what are they talking about constantly? If, for example, if someone is bullying or saying insane things, or even like terroristic threats or school shooting threats or this, having that source file and being able to read transcription allows you to be like, boom, ban, off. Because again, you're violating terms and conditions. So again, with hypersexualized content, especially for someone like me who like disdains it so much, I personally think that it'd be very easy to be like, boom, off, boom, off. Because again, but at some point, saying the direct messages though, they're having that kind of conversation. It's an encrypted system. You can't really go in and take their audios or anything. So again, whatever people are talking about separately, it's literally an encrypted system. So I'm not really able to go into it because it's a 256 encryption system. So me as like the founder, CEO, won't be able to like go listen to everyone's memos and that are going privately. So if you're doing that privately, go ahead. But if you're posting on the public feed, then I have say be able to be like, no. So that's the way I would do that. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Zoom Xavier, Ray, JP, John, Elaine, Marissa. Dave Garish, Zoomland, what do we got?
Okay, let me start off. Ali, thank you for a well executed pitch. A couple of questions come to mind. You know, voices conveys more than just a message. It also conveys sentiment. And you rightfully pointed out some of the benefits of that, but it can also go the other way. An angry tone is camouflaged by a subtle text, written text, whereas voice is difficult to hide. My question to you is this a beta version that you are promoting right now, or is it ready to launch? Secondly, have you talked to a VC? And lastly, I would ask if this could be in the future a substack of WhatsApp, or the other way around, where you would have a text messaging within your voice box as an alternate.
Those three?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one I'll do first because it's fresh in my mind, is that I hope to be completely separate from WhatsApp and Facebook because I do not want to join their conglomerate. Because again, I'm not in agreement with how Facebook or anything or Meta run their company, run with their values and again their ethics. So again, for me, I'd rather just be separate. Two, I don't want to add text to it no matter what, because again, when people went to Snapchat, they went strictly for this pictures, and it worked just fine. People went to Instagram. They went to Instagram because they had little filters and edits that I'm not a professional photographer or editor, so it helped me. So when people have something as a platform built upon something, that's what they will use that platform for. So for me, I want to make sure I maintain that voice-only feature, because again, that's where apps like Clubhouse, AirChat, and these different apps where they're like, hey, yeah, use your voice here, but they will also have text. So then I'm like, okay, then what's the point? So one thing I would add potentially is adding documents or photos from gallery. Say if I'm having a business meeting over VoiceBox and I'm interacting. I'm like, hey, could you send over that thing? We can talk about it over here. Boom. So now we can have it as like a source thing that we're talking about, but then being able to interact. So that's something I've thought about maybe adding into it as like a sense of uploading through gallery for that regard, but no texting. Because again, if you're using this platform, you're using it to text and talk to people. Again, WhatsApp has 2 billion users and 150 million voice notes are sent daily. So clearly there's a market that it will work for. So that's the market I'm going to go after rather than kind of bend what I want it to be. And the first question you had was the beta launch. So yeah, I'm in last stage development right now with my developer. I'm meeting him the 21st of August to like, again, kind of go through the final stages of development so that I can launch beta hopefully again by October. And then once it's in beta mode, just kind of soft launch it, have it on the App Store and stuff, and just like one by one get it into the hands of the people that I've networked with over the last 2 years or so. And again, I have spoken to VCs, I've done pitch competitions, I usually in and out of Philly as much as I can because where more opportunities are than just the high value other than this and maybe like 1 or 2 events. So I go down to Philly and I've spoken with investors, VCs, ex-founders, the co-founder of Venmo. I met him, this guy's exited to Venmo, he exited to Petco for a couple ideas. So I was able to have really good conversations with him multiple times. Now he's on like a close network of mine. So I've spoken with people who have succeeded and done this, and I'm ready to like have it go to them as well once I launch, which is again my marketing plan or marketing strategy as well come launch time. So yeah.
All right. One final comment, whether you consider it a pro or a con, your app, when it's successful, could be the death of multitasking at meetings.
Fabulous. So we've got Xavier, Ray, Noah, JP, John.
I'm Xavier. I'm a digital marketing specialist. So just coming from like straight out of high school, I know how people use social media apps because while I don't use it nearly as much as they do, I've seen so many people in class using it, which sort of makes me question like how much are people, my age and like high school students going to be using it? Because I know there's lots of Instagram use, lots of Snapchat use, and lots of TikTok use in class, but all muted. Now, the thing with your platform is, I know you mentioned that there's going to be transcription. Is that going to pop up for the user so that, say they're in class, but they want to read a message, even though they might not be able to send one, can they hit play with like text only and then read the text?
So eventually there will be like a transcription feature that I do want to add just for accessibility use, because accessibility is really important because again, say you want to make sure it's accessible to as many people as possible, which is nice. But something that I've thought about as well with this question, and I really thank you for bringing this up, is that it's very hard to do voice if you're multitasking, like he was saying, right? If you're multitasking with voice, you really can't do it. You have to have full attention into the person you're talking to. Instead of me kind of half looking, texting, yeah, or, oh, I read it, and in my head I responded, but really I didn't respond. I thought I responded, but then they're like, hey, like you didn't text back for 5 hours, like I needed this information now. Oh, I thought I sent that text, I thought I hit send. So with voice, something that kind of gives me like that little bit of an edge is that you have to actually give the person the 100% attention that they deserve by listening to their voice memo, listening to the entire memo, and then responding. So again, with relationships, with people, with coworkers, with anyone you're talking to, having the ability to sit there and listen fully to a memo, then respond and talk, again, makes the app more personal. And it almost makes me feel like I would rather them not use it in class, because you should be focusing in class. So again, me being, again, I was in high school too. I remember opening up Snapchat and sending a little picture of the ceiling as I'm talking to someone. But then if I have to actually talk to them with the voice, a little harder to do that while I'm in mid-class or mid-session. So yeah.
And then also, is it gonna like delete instantly like Snap, or is it's gonna be saved there?
So I want there to be like a log of saved memos. And I had someone come up to me one time at an event. He was like, yeah, man, like one of the last like sounds or voices I have, my mother, is like a voicemail she sent me. And he was like, this has been so cool to like have like our last conversation, even though if it's like a little bit like, so some people be a little stressful, anxiety reducing, but like then it's like, oh, that last conversation was so sweet. So you can have those positive memories of someone even after they pass. So again, there's different random ways that you can have it, but again, having that vault of it is really nice. And the data to require to host audio is nearly not as much as it is to have video or pictures. So when it comes to servers and costs and being able to actually store all of it on a platform, it's a lot less, which again helps out in the long run as well.
Perfect. And then one last thing, you're gonna have this on like desktop, Mac, and phone.
Yeah, so because the development team switched it to Flutter.io. Flutter.io is a platform in where it makes it a lot easier to take it from GitHub or Code or different places you're storing it, to then put it onto Flutter.io, and where it kind of automatically can help you transfer from iOS and Google Play, where if you're developing it on those languages, to then also have an automatic web app, which will again also help. Because again, some people maybe might use their computer to do it. They have a microphone, they have a headset. So being able to have that feature as well for web will be nice. But again, my main focus and concern is obviously iOS and Android. So again, those are my main two, but I will have the web development as well. So yeah.
Excellent. Ray.
Ray Valentine, how's it going?
How are you, Ray?
We met before.
Yes.
Yes, how you doing? Good presentation. I have a couple of questions. I'm trying to keep it brief. One is really, what is your differentiation? I mean, there's Snapchat, there's, Voxer, there's a bunch of apps doing similar stuff. What sets you apart from those apps?
Yeah, so first and foremost is, again, the UI UX design. So again, it's a brand new style and look to an application where there's no other application on the market that looks like mine. And it's because I came into it with a sense of, what do I want to use? Again, I'm very mission driven and passion driven. And when I created this, I created it for literally me. I didn't think about other people. I didn't think about money. I didn't think about what it could be in the future, but I just wanted to have a platform and where I can speak to someone. So I had met someone when I was abroad from Argentina. Her name was Claire. And we were having this conversation back and forth, and all the time we were there, and fast forward, like, oh, give me your WhatsApp, blah, 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 cool. Fast forward 6 months, she's sending me a voice memo when I'm at university and she's in Argentina. And she sends me a memo and she's like, hey, Ali, how are you doing today? And her accent, her inflection, her tone, her energy came through the phone. And I was like, wait, this is dope. I feel like I'm talking to her right now. So then I was thinking, wait, is there an app on the App Store that just does voice? I'm looking, can't find it. I look at this app. Oh, no, it's a voice editing app. And I can't find what I'm looking for in my head or what the idea came up in my head. And when you can't find something that you want to use, you create it. So that's the inspiration behind it.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that its voice is the distinction.
Yes.
That's why you're different. You're
Yes.
just strictly doing voice.
Correct.
Okay. Have you done testing around that? Like, how many users have you talked to, or potential users have you talked to? And that can't be like your friend, your neighbor, people in this group, because everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's a great idea, because nobody wants to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
You're asking for the validation.
Actual validation of the idea. Have you spoken to users just through like surveys or interviews and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So one of the main things that I do for it is like user stories and seeing again like what people are actually saying, because what people are saying, it matters. And I remember looking at so many different comments when I was in like 2020 on Twitter, people saying like, oh, why is there not DMs, like voice DMs yet? Why is not voice DMs yet? And there's so many people who always be like, oh, Instagram, why are you updating this? This isn't what we asked for. We want to see who follows us and who doesn't follow us back. So there's features that people constantly ask for that you see. So again, like I was showing with the validation of WhatsApp, again, 150 million memos are sent daily. Yes, I have done it multiple times where, again, where you talk to, I was a private soccer coach in Lehigh Valley with Perfect Touch Sports. Maybe some of you guys have heard of that organization up in Quakertown. But I've, again, spoke to multiple different parents and asked them just simple questions. Hey, like, how often does your kid talk? Oh, hey, how does your kid do here? And asking all those questions, again, from kids that are 3 years old all the way to 18 years old. That, again, are the athletes, the future athletes of the generation. Again, most of them are very talented as well, so I'm thinking these are going to be the future D1, D2, D3 college athletes. So then there are also people who push agendas. So then I'd start asking those parents and the kids as well, oh, how often do you talk to your friends? How do you talk to your friends? What could you use? And I again started asking about voice. And so many parents had come up to me, especially at different things, like, oh, this will help my kid talk to me more in college because he's so busy, but for him to send a 1-minute memo would probably be so much better on his way to class than him texting.
Did any of the kids come up to you and say, oh yeah, this is great, I would use this?
I showed a bunch of different kids, like high school groups. I showed late middle school. I had a group of girls up in Quakertown. And I asked them, I was like, hey girls, I have a question for you girls. And they were like, wait, this would be so fun. It'd be like having like a walkie-talkie with all our friends. And it'd be fun, creative, and playful. You could have a group chat.
Have you tried driving ads to it? So like the best way to get validation is to have people either pay or sign up. Because they can say to you, oh, this is great, I would do this. But do they actually give you their email or give you a sign up? And I would just recommend doing something like that in that capacity before putting, 30, 40, 50 grand into development. Do that basic test.
Yeah.
Then you can get feedback. Then you can tweak how you're going to develop it.
Yeah.
Because now you've talked to users who are actually signing up. And then you can tweak.
Yeah, so the main thing, again, like first and foremost, is when I went to create this application, I created it 100% for me. I didn't care how much I was gonna put into it or not or anything at first. I was like, oh, I wanna use this for me, my friends, my family, the people I wanna be around. And how cool would it be to say, oh, I have an app on the App Store. But then as obviously you think of, okay, this is gonna be a business and have the acumen, something I really believe in is first developing the product fully, that you believe in, that you validated with your own research, your own intuitive nature as well, going after it. Because again, when I had the idea in 2019, I was thinking there needs to be an all voice-centered app. 6 months later, Clubhouse comes out, valued at $4 billion. So then I'm like, this is enough validation for me to know that this is a good idea, so let me look into it a little more. And as I've gone over the last 4 years of this development process, this focus process, pitching, competitions, meeting all these different networking into different people, many, many people have said, yes, this would work. Yes, this is exciting. And again, being Egyptian, I was just in Egypt over the summer, spoke to a bunch of people.
Other people want to talk, so I'm going to stop you. I'd love to like sit down and talk with you more. I know we had conversations in the past. If I can help any way, I know some places that do grants and do some stuff local and stuff. And if I can help any way, I'd be willing to help.
No, that'd be awesome. Thank you again. And thank you again for the questions too as well. Because again, it's a good question to ask because when I first created it, I was the founder of the company. But then I had to become the CEO. You have to become the project manager. You have to become the project owner. You have to become the person on legal counsel. So you gain all these skills that are more business side, but when you create something, you might not have all the business acumen right away to be like, oh, this is how I'm gonna succeed. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. So again, it was more passion and mission driven into that. So again, thank you again for that. But again, the validation stuff that I had to do for like a whole, like there was like a validation academy I did and I went through the whole thing and I realized that I had validated this 2 years ago. I've been validating it when I meet all these different people. I validate it every day when I see kids staring at the ground instead of talking to people. I validate it every time I have a podcast with a teacher and they're telling me my kids don't interact with each other anymore unless it's through their phone. So again, for me, that's something where I want to put something good into the world and then that good energy will then go into it because again, once you build it, people come.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Noah. I'm actually first timer here. So your presentation, very, very good. I enjoyed it. I think it's a great idea. One question I have is you're mentioning the marketing capabilities for businesses. They'd pay 15 a month, or you even said at the beginning, 5 a month, and they'd be able to directly reach out to their followers. I think, or something that I was wondering is social media, TikTok, Instagram, one of the big things for businesses and marketing is that they get that natural traffic. How would you kind of pitch to them why they should go to your platform rather than the other platforms if at least I didn't see that there would be natural traffic because you'd only be able to pitch to your followers. How would they get followers?
Yeah, so a big part about this is that as doing, again, research and validation of throughout different things, I've noticed that On TikTok especially, a lot of people, I know Emma Chamberlain is someone who created a coffee business. Lady Gaga is a creative director of Polaroid. You have people who are creators, right? Get ready with me, and they show themselves using makeup and this and that in their whole day. But then they end up coming out with, oh, I have a new t-shirt brand. And now their t-shirt brand sells out every single time they drop. And you're wondering, okay, so they didn't have any sense of manufacturing, business, this business, not to do it, but they were just a popular founder or a popular creative on these platforms. Then, hey, I now have a business, buy my product, and they sell it every time. Because nowadays it's founder-led companies that are succeeding. There's a couple people who, again, he's a guy who just runs marathons, created a whole running brand platform, and now he makes $100,000 a month just off of the stuff that he was already making content on and passionate about. So a lot of the main future focus on creatives is that founder-led. So with something like this, with being founder-led, and then it's a trend that's obviously upticking, is that people are going to start doing, oh, I have these 500,000 followers. I can be like, hey guys, new album dropping. Here it is. Hey guys, my new drop here, dropping. So again, it gives them that privilege to be able to talk directly to the people that follow them, that want to follow them. So again, from other platforms they follow them, they can find them on this platform. The same way where you'd find people on Snapchat, the same way you find people on Twitter. You might not get them on your For You page until you go out and seek for it. But again, that's something I would rather do on the platform than just, here's what I think you'd like, here's what I think you'd like. And then again, when you kind of doom scroll on that swiping feature, it's like lottery machine. Swipe, go, swipe, go. So again, the whole point of the app isn't to keep them addicted, but to keep them addicted to talking to one another and listening to one another. And the second part of that question, the main way, again, is because it's going to be, again, creator and consumer-led. For example, I'm not going to have, for example, spam Nike ads. But if I really like Nike shoes, I'll follow them. And then Nike will send me, hey, download this for 5% off on the next shoe pair you have. And something else that I, again, did validation and researched on was instead of blog posts that were really popular over the last decade, now we're starting to see a lot of CEOs and company leaders at big organizations hop on podcasts. So why is that? When a podcast is a way for them to allow them to express themselves as the CEO, as the founder, as the leader of a company. And when they do this, it builds brand image. Why do you think right now, even during the presidential campaign, you have Donald Trump hanging out with Aiden Ross, who's just like some Twitch streamer? You have Kamala Harris's team hitting up Kai Cenat, who's, again, a Twitch streamer. What do they know about politics or anything? They don't care about that. They just need the platform. So understanding that people will always go to where the attention is at. So again, for me, that's why I know that something like this would work, because people are going to be on this platform to talk, to communicate to their fans in a voice and sense of personal setting. So again, there's going to be ways to actually influence and market to the people that synchronize or follow you.
Excellent. JP.
Hi there. My name is Juan Pablo Gorigoitia. I used to participate more often a couple of years ago. Now I have a couple of questions that concern me. For example, I'm agnostic. So you mentioned religion on the way that you've created this, that you attach this app to your values. And I'm sure that, as he mentioned, sorry, I forgot your name, the problem of polarization is incredibly hard, especially nowadays and with elections. So when it comes to the moderation of the content, also you say that there's an area in which all the communication is going to be personal, but then I'm also going to have this option that there's a megaphone. And this megaphone is going to reach to hundreds of thousands of people, as you put it. So is that going to be something that I'm going to have in the middle of my content with my group of people, my friends, and then suddenly I'm going to have this megaphone get in the middle of this, or is only going to happen when I'm in an area that I'm going to try to focus on the businesses that I'm following? And if that's the case, how are you going to be filtering from your perspective that content that is going to be jumping into people's area, into people's communication thread, for example, and what are the parameters that you're going to be using to moderate that particular speech or particular business or particular value that other business is trying to put to everybody around here?
No, thank you again for the question. Again, it's a really important thing because, again, nowadays, privacy, security is a huge concern for all of us, and especially even with Apple. So, for example, Apple has denied more apps to the App Store over the last year than they have in the last 10 years. So they are constantly denying things based on that privacy sentiment, right? And something, for example, like the megaphone idea, again, it was more of like a marketing idea and stuff, but if I were to go full force on it, one way that would happen is this. Not many people will pay $1,000 for a megaphone, for example, or et cetera, et cetera. Or say if I do the giveaway thing for every 10,000 users, someone does the megaphone, it comes to me first, I approve it, then it goes out. Obviously, at that age of 10,000, I'll be able to do that. But say it gets even larger and larger, you have moderation teams. Eventually, you're going to have to use AI to sort of help you moderate things as well. Have certain keywords, certain things, and certain traction of notices with a transcript, like, oh, nope, new person wins. New person wins, for example. Oh, they started just swearing and cursing. Nope, next person. So again, there's ways you can moderate around that pretty simply. So again, that's, well, again, the parameters could be very simple, where it's like anything that's, again, lewd. If it's going to be a global message, for example, it has to be rated G, right, or PG. It can't just be something absurd, right? So again, that's different ways to do it. But for me personally, I'm not going to entice anything political. Because again, for me, it's more of a platform to like share who you are as an individual rather than it is political. Because again, that's a system that I'm not trying to promote as well. But if you want to follow political things, then go ahead. And again, that's just like a simple marketing strategy on the platform potentially. Nothing that's actually set in stone though, just a simple idea.
Excellent. Awesome. Garish, Dave, anything else on Zoom land? Garish, I see you got a legal question for him.
Yeah, I put it in the memo or in the chat for perhaps Ali to talk or ponder over later on, but it's quite valid. I would think, would a voice memo or exchange constitute a legally binding agreement between the parties who have talked to each other in that manner? Right now, a written word, whether it's email or text, does have a lot of bearing in the legal system.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm assuming then I could be someone who could potentially set a precedent, right?
You
Yeah,
may
of
be that.
course.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a digital marketer. And my question to you is, so how are you going to market this to people? Like, what avenue are you going to go down?
So at first, again, thank you for the question. So the first part of it is going to be more soft launch. We're going to have built maybe a networking list of over 500 plus people from VCs, investors, other first-time founders, other people who've exited companies, different people around the area. So I'm going to have like a list of those people. Then I have a list of maybe like 300 people, and where I gave them early adopter bracelets that I have. And if you guys want one, again, more than willing to grab one at the end. And those 300 people will be like, again, just people I've met, talking, interacting. In Egypt, I gave out maybe like 15. I met a kid who was sitting next to me on the airplane, plays squash for Drexel, but then also is Egyptian. We were talking on the plane a little bit. Gave him one. So then I kind of found like 300 people, just like average everyday users that would use this platform. So I have different ways to kind of soft launch it. And again, like I was speaking about it earlier, with social media, it's really interesting because there's something called the social media effect, right? The network effect. And the network effect is that I give it to you, you're using it, but you can't talk to yourself. So you send it to your buddy here, your buddy there, your buddy there. Perfect, now you guys are talking. But then, hey, let me use my girlfriend. Now she's talking, now she uses it with her 5 friends. And it's kind of like how any network effect works. That's kind of, I want to first soft launch it to see how it actually plays out without me actually advertising it. I don't want to advertise right away. But when it comes to the point of, okay, now it's go time, I see it's gaining traction, I want to advertise it. The ways I'm going to do it are having different skits, because on TikTok and different platforms, skit culture is like the #1 way to promote things. So for example, just having different videos or ads of explaining something. So it's like, for example, it's a guy, and like the headline just says like he's walking, he's arguing with his girlfriend. Arguing with your girlfriend again, it's like over text, if you can't get your word out, it's like, should have used VoiceBox, should have used the memo, should have had the conversation. So again, different little like gimmicks and tactics like that where solving certain problems. Oh, you're going on a date with someone that you really wanted to talk to. Oh, you're texting in the DMs of Instagram for the last week. You get coffee with her, you sit down across from her, and you can't stand her voice. So now you're here getting coffee for the next hour with someone that you can't stand hearing their voice. Now the attraction level has gone way down. Or for example, you got catfished. Oh, this is not what they look like on Instagram. So again, it's different ways to kind of make little funny jokes or gimmicks and skits to kind of entice more use as well. So that's again after the soft launch, kind of get into the marketing tactic. But again, really going to rely on the network effect more first and foremost to allow the application to grow.
So are you going to have some like referral deal for some people?
So one idea I had, like a strategy I had was, you remember how I talked about those skins? So for example, I was thinking about dropping like limited edition skins for the first this many users. First your users get this skin. First, et cetera, users get this skin. The 10,000th user gets this premium skin. So again, it's just kind of like little bits of like badges where it's like, it doesn't mean anything, but to people it does mean something. It's fun, it's creative, it kind of gamifies the platform a little bit. And when you gamify a platform, for example, we all know Rosetta Stone, but then Duolingo came out, and now Duolingo is way more popular and does way more revenue than Rosetta Stone did. So again, it's understanding how to gamify a platform and having the users kind of have fun with the platform. So that's, again, a different way as well I'll be looking to do it.
Because you want to have it as social media, but you also want to have this direct message aspect. Which one would you personally want more of? Do you want more of a social media aspect or more of a...
The interesting thing is that sometimes in business or sometimes when you create a product, you really don't know what's going to run first. And you kind of have to go and see what groups of people will actually use it. For example, say it completely goes viral in Indonesia, but I don't have to pick which languages to add first. I'm probably going to pick Indonesian first. So again, it's understanding your market and kind of playing it by ear and going by like 2-week sprints, for example, saying, oh, this is what's working in this 2 weeks. Now update, adapt, reiterate. And again, with software, that's kind of how you have to do it rather than like a sense of like a car manufacturing company. So for example, you have to manufacture the whole car for the car to go, and then, oh, now there's an issue with the car, restart manufacturing from ground one. But with software, it's a lot more quick. It's a lot more, oh, fix this little tweak, fix this little bug, fix this little glitch. So then it's more along that line. So that's how, again, how I'd reiterate as well as I go forward.
And last question, because you are spreading this by word of mouth, I mean, how many people do you have? Because it's going to be rough at the start, but I think once you get enough people, obviously it's going to grow exponentially. How many people do you have on board with you spreading this message?
So again, the main thing is, again, like I was talking about that list I have of maybe like 500 individual networking events and stuff, 300 people that I have that were more along the lines of like people I met in real life, just interaction. And then I have a list of roughly around 150 influencers and different people that I've met, interacted with, I had long conversations with. And if I added up all their follower counts, roughly around like 40 million people. And again, my best friend has 500,000. He's like has had multiple songs hit multiple million streams on his platforms. So again, having that in your network, instant network, is kind of nice. But again, having that large group of people that you can network to is nice. And then, like I said, the developer himself has worked with 2 different people where 10 million plus subscriber content, worked with Jordan Belfort on a web app. So again, he himself has a lot of networks as well. And he's also in the music industry as well. So again, he has his own network as well. And again, your net worth is your network. So again, going to these events, meeting people, being a social person like myself, you kind of end up in rooms with people that are multi-platinum producers. You end up in rooms with people who worked with this or exited a company with Venmo, exited a company with Petco. So again, it's having that in your network is really valuable because it's not just about the people you know, but again, who can they influence as well. So again, that's again one of my main strategies I have.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. 2 quick questions and answers, and we get to intros. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been fabulous.
Good morning, my man.
Morning, brother.
So, my name is Jermaine Brown. Great presentation. I actually had an idea for something called V in like 2010, which would be voice Twitter. One of my friends laughed at me, told me that's the name of a female detergent, right? Or deodorant. Look at voice Twitter now. So great concept. To be quick and sweet, respect for everyone in the room. 2 things. If you want to charge your customers less, I think you should charge the businesses more. You could look at companies as individuals, right?
Enterprise, yeah, like it was enterprise
yes.
pay and different things.
So based on what everyone else has been saying today, if you want to target people like, let's say Coca-Cola, you incite them, have them join. You could use APIs, things like that, and have them have their own speakers, the leaders of, like you were saying, instead of podcasts, shorter discussions, right? They could, on their Coca-Cola feed, you could have Coca-Cola members say something about how to get your business started, yada, yada. And now their followers can listen. That's their points over there, the new guy as well, how they acquire people. You can have when people are signing up, they state their interests. And then lastly, you're wearing a DJI microphone. Great company. You could join their communities, right? Things like that. People who use microphones, not just DJI, but One Shot 360 or whatever, the 360 camera. You join communities like that with API, with your transcription, with you moderating what comes through. You can have different communities talk about things. People who rock climb could talk about rock climbing. People who yada yada. You could look at those. And lastly, your microphone idea that seems to have started with broadcasting from BlackBerry Messenger. I would suggest taking a look at how they went about their broadcasting features.
Marissa, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate the idea. I think it's great. Listening to you talk about it, clear that you've thought about this a while, and I think you should really emphasize the personal touch that can be conveyed via voice, because that's really the selling point here, is not the fact that, okay, like all the other stuff seem like mixed bag, like it's a positive for some people but also a negative for other, but the personal touch is going to be a positive for everyone. I think I had a couple questions. I agree with most people. I think the price for the common user should be as cheap as possible, if not minimal, and then charge businesses or advertising and find some other way to monetize. I'm sorry, I have a lot of notes here.
No, good.
I really liked the idea of voice. Of music. Musicians are going to love this platform because they can do little bits of
snippets and different things. Hey guys, what do you think about this new track? And then again, my best friend is a professional artist, musician, producer. So having him in my network right away, he basically was like, dude, I would love to use this because if I'm promoting it on TikTok, sometimes the TikTok content that gets viral isn't just my music. And no one wants to hear, oh, another artist thinks that SoundCloud rapper, oh, another person thinks he wants to make it in the game. But if people are actually following and listening to you rather than looking at you, the problem is nowadays most people listen with their eyes now on these social media platforms, right? Because again, oh, they have all the swag, they have the jewelry, they have the energy, the aura, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually about what are they saying? What are the verses actually being said? So again, it kind of puts power back into the creatives and the artist's hands for like the authentic voice, like you were saying.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree. I think it's going to be great for musicians. Also, like, I love focusing on accessibility, especially for the hard of hearing. I would encourage you to also look into blind accessibility, especially maybe even focus on that, because that's going to be a whole community you could advertise to immediately that it will be like, oh, this is great. Maybe also look to see if there's any competitors that might also exist in the blind community that might do something similar that might not have caught up yet. The last thing is I have concerns about moderation. For text, it's very easy for a computer to automate moderation, look for sexual content, curse words, anything that's triggering. However, for voice, you're going to be really relying on that transcription in order to moderate it because you cannot moderate yourself. Even if you hire a team of 100 people, if it does explode, that's going to be way too much to moderate. So I would strongly encourage looking into that and focusing on that.
And yeah, just to end that last one again, thank you for that part. It's a really cool thing is that I kind of had this question like as I was building, I was like, okay, so how am I gonna do all this moderation? I'm not gonna sit behind the computer all day and be like, yes, no, yes, no. And then obviously you guys have seen like the new tech layoffs that have been happening with Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason why is because they started using AI. Why hire 10 people to moderate? We're gonna have one robot do it nonstop 24/7 that's doing exactly their job, if not better. Because again, with how AI is advancing and stuff, we're gonna have to use it in some regard. And someone has asked me, oh, are you gonna put AI voices and sound effects and stuff? And I'm like, maybe in like the direct messages, but the main way I would keep my platform is as least AI as possible, because again, I want it to be real, authentic communication. But I can use these AI tools to help moderate and basically protect my platform from any exterior content that kind of happens. So yeah, but thank you for that.
Fabulous, dude, thank you so very much. Everybody, let's give this guy a round of applause. Passionate, well prepared. You are going places. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you guys again for everything as well. I really appreciate you guys giving me your time and letting me ramble on for the last hour or so to you guys. So again, thank you guys again.
We'd like to present you this for your presentation today. Any beverage you choose can go in there.
Nice.
Okay, now it's time for the new folks.